Fair warning, this video is badly edited, and I'm not sure why it started just there. I didn't think it was that badly edited, but maybe it was. So this actually was taken during a stream, of course. It was a really long one, and I had already drawn out almost everything with pencil. And normally, I don't really say normally because I don't do a lot of pencil drawings, but this is my second stream using the light board. And I just wanted to make something in that same vein as my other coloring page. So I sped this up by like 400% so that I had a little bit more time to talk, because I actually have a lot of things I wanted to cover. And also so that you could see me and I'm not just kind of like zooming across the page. The reason that it's edited kind of badly is just because there are a lot of things where I'm kind of fiddling with stuff, or there's a whole bunch of like me just throwing the pen on and just leaving it there for a few minutes. So I took a whole lot of that out. I also noticed that I tap my fingers like constantly. So I'm like in the video and you'll notice it. Now that I noticed it, it's a little cringy because I'm like, there's my fingers. I must be thinking. It's usually when I'm trying to think of the next thing to do, I end up doing that. So it was kind of funny to me because I noticed myself doing it a lot whenever I was trying to come up with stuff. And here I go, just abandoning my posts. So my hands are very dark because, of course, the light is shining from behind. I think at some point I did change the way I was doing the lighting just so that the audience could see it a little bit better. But so the thought process with this is very similar to the other one, which was about the idea of these like kind of sea monsters that are interacting and also trapped by machines. It's like the idea that, you can't get away from something. It's like the Stockholm syndrome type thing where it's like, something is abusing you and trapping you, but you love it because you don't know anything else and you don't have anywhere else to go. It's like a safety thing. And I feel like I don't know why, but like I just have this thing in my head where I constantly think about stuff like this where, I don't know if it's like machines are trapped or what, I don't know, trapping monsters, or I don't know. And I think maybe it has a lot to do with my, I've been in pretty like abusive relationships in the past where I felt really trapped. I've also, I grew up kind of around a lot of trauma and things happening all the time and stress. And that's actually something I wanted to get into a little bit today. So if you have problems like talking about or hearing about like violence or really stressful situations or PTSD, or if you have PTSD like me, maybe don't listen if you just want to watch. And I actually don't know how many people watch these versus listen to them. So if you're just watching it for the art and you don't want to hear me ramble about my shitty life, and I totally get it, then that's fine. But if you do want to, hear what's going on, then we can talk about that a little bit. I'll say that, and I think I mentioned this before, when I was younger, I was kind of zombified for a really long time. I didn't really exist in reality. I didn't remember things. If something bad happened, I would maybe remember part of it, or sometimes I wouldn't remember it at all. And so there's this like isolating thing about not being able to remember most of your childhood that it really bothers me, because like so many people that I know, like they remember things like names of their teachers or schools they went to or things they learned. And like I can remember a little German, and I can remember like things that were maybe in photographs, but if it wasn't, I just can't remember it at all. And I really am seeing the same behavior in my sister, and it's so troubling because I see her being just completely absent-minded like me. There was a time I was probably, I don't even know, like 15, 16 years old, when my friends and I got lost trying to go somewhere because I didn't know how to get back to the road I lived on. And it's like, I was 16 years old and there was no excuse for me not knowing the roads around my house. And it turned out that we were on the other side of town on the same road. So that's like, if that tells you anything, that's just like how out of it I was all the time. Like I wasn't paying attention to anything, like much less, normal stuff. But like we got lost for hours trying to find my house, and we were on the wrong side of town. Like I don't even know how to explain how embarrassing that is. But my sister, like even just today, like she left her water bottle at my brother's house or in his car, and it's like every time we do something or go somewhere, I end up having to like buy her another thing because she lost it or she left it somewhere else or she wasn't thinking about it. And when I asked her some questions about where a place was, she didn't know. And like I asked her like which road, and see, I know my mom's area now, but like I asked her which road to take and she didn't know, which means that she doesn't even know how to find her way home. And that's scary. Like she's 15 and like she can't find her way home. And I'm cut for a second. I'm going to apologize about the bad wipes in between stuff. I totally did that on purpose, and I'm sorry. They're so bad, but I told you it was edited badly because it switches between the backlighting and the me drawing and stuff. So I'm just letting you know. But it is really troubling to me that my sister doesn't know how to get home and that she doesn't know her way around. And I know that she wants to drive maybe eventually soon, but I think she has a lot of the same anxiety about driving that I did. When you've been in the car with like somebody who doesn't pay a lot of attention to driving and you've also got anxiety, wanting to drive is just not something you do. Like I didn't want to drive when I was younger because I was always scared. I mean, have you ever been in a car with somebody while they're putting on mascara and yelling at someone at the same time, like while they're driving with like the little visor down and they're doing their mascara? And it's like, come on, like it's terrifying, especially if you've been in a car accident with that person. So it's like, yeah. So what bothers me is that I'm trying to like help. Like in my last video, I talked a little bit about buying things and like budgeting and stuff like that. But honestly, like I kind of need to get to square one with her and honestly with myself. And we got to talk about just dealing with the things that we've seen and the things we've put up with and like the things that have happened to us. And like my brother and my mom did not get along, and my sister was there for all of that. And so my sister, I don't think has been abused the way my brother has, but my sister has seen my mom be very violent to my brother. And my brother break things and destroy things and get angry as well. Of course he has, anger issues, and I do too. Like I went to anger management, because I found myself blacking out in rage, like the same way that I saw my mom do when I was younger, and the same way that I saw my brother do when he was younger, and my sister and my other, like I'm talking about my other sister, but like we all have that, like that habit, and we definitely got it from her and my stepdad because he was the same way. I don't know if it was like did the chicken before the egg thing. Like, I don't know if the violence in that situation started with my mom or started with him, but I know from talking to my dad that like all the violent stuff was going on even when he was younger. And like he said the reason that he left my mom was because my mom hit him all the time. And I don't blame him. Like, I'm not mad at him for that. That's the reason I left. And so this like something she said to me the other day was that if my sister smarted after her, that she was going to hit her. And like in my mom's mind, that's just like a thing you do. Like somebody makes you mad, you hit them. Somebody does something, you fight with them. And I don't know how to get that, like, oh, there's a plane. I don't know how to get that thought process out of her head that it's just not okay. No matter how mad you are, you don't just hit people. And like, talking to her and like saying that to her is like speaking a foreign language. Like she acts like she's listening to me, but she's not. She literally doesn't care. Like, and I know the thing is, like, she would hit my sister and my sister would cry and then she would feel bad and apologize, but she wouldn't apologize for hitting her. She would apologize for my sister making her, I'm sorry, but you made me do that. And I remember being a kid. And like, I think that one of the things that my mom actually enjoyed was consoling me after she'd hit me. Like, I feel like that actually in her mind brought us closer together. not as like a fucked up thing where she's like, oh, well, I enjoy, consoling her. It was more like, I think that she thought that if she hit me or whatever, and then I was upset and crying, because I would just cry and like I would lose it after that. And she would come and like calm me down and be like, I'm sorry, honey, but you made me do this. You just made me so mad. And then she would hug me and then she'd want to cuddle with me and stuff. And like I can remember that happening several times. Like to her, it was normal. Like it was almost like, this fucked up thing where she was like, oh, I get to take care of my baby now because she's crying. And that's what she likes, is that I'm a baby and I'm her baby and that kind of thing. And so when I see her still treating my sister like she's still a kid, especially with that whole budget thing, the way she talked to her just actually triggered me really hard. And I don't think that's something that my mom even understands, but it's troubling. It's troubling because I just see it. And I think that, I still don't know where things are going to go. Like, I don't know if my sister is going to stay with me. There's this situation going on now where my mom may be staying with my other brother, which would be totally fine if she didn't hate his girlfriend. And I'm scared that like she's going to be violent over there and she's going to end up hurting herself, hurting her new surgery, hurting one of them, or in jail. I don't know. But like, I shouldn't have to think about this kind of shit. Like, what? Why? Like, I feel like I just got dragged, and it's like right back to this situation where it's like there's this machine that I just cannot escape, and the machine is this system of drama that keeps happening over and over again. And I feel like, yeah, I could totally separate myself from it, but I can't do that. Like, I'm not that person. I did it for a long time, and now I feel like it's like partially my fault that my sister is in this situation because I didn't do anything about it, and now at least I'm trying. But I feel like every step I take to try to correct this or do anything, I'm being fought from all sides. Like I'm being fought and I'm being told that, oh, well, we can help your mom take care of the house. We can do this and we can do that. And I'm like, okay, but if you do that, like, I understand that you want to help her and maybe she's probably going to give you money or something, which is, a lot of people's motivation for helping her because she's got a little money right now. So she's throwing it around. But it's like, okay, so you want to help her, but what's going to happen is she's going to make you keep all the things that you think she should get rid of because you're not a professional. And that was the whole point of me wanting to bring in a professional to do the house, is that they're not going to just be family that gets bullied into keeping all the shit for my mom. My mom's already talking about getting a storage shed. It's my mom and my sister, and they have enough things in their house for 20 people. Not 2 people, 20 people. And even like, and this same mentality is going on even with my brother's girlfriend, like where she's like, well, it seems like a shame to get rid of all that stuff. And I'm like, who needs it? Like nobody needs that crap. No one needs it. And they certainly don't need it if it's covered in urine and covered in parasites and stuff. And it's like, I'm not saying to throw everything away. What I'm saying is that she doesn't need all that stuff. And I was like, she needs to be like living in an apartment or something where it's clean and safe. And, somebody has to come in and check up on things so that the house doesn't get like that. I was like, and I tried to explain to her, I said, I've been watching her do this for years. Like, I know, I understand what's going on. Maybe better than you understand, but I'm telling you right now, she's just going to manipulate you into doing what she wants. And because I'm not letting her do that, of course she's going to come to you and ask you for help. I mean, of course she is. I'm just trying to, there's Rupert. I'm trying to get completely away from that. I'm trying to get out of that machine. And I'm trying to I'm trying to manage it from outside of it. And not be stuck to it with it, breaking my back. Because it's like I told her, I said, if I was just going to clean it up and get rid of stuff, which is what they seem to think I'm going to do, I would have just done that. I would have already gone to the house and thrown everything out. Like I can do that. Like that is within my power to do. But that's not the issue. That's not what I was trying to do. I was trying to help her heal. I'm trying to get her better, because just getting rid of stuff or just keeping the stuff you want. I mean, I've been through this with her before. I helped her clean up before, and it was me and my aunt 8 hours cleaning dishes and cleaning up dog poop, and my mom didn't let us do anything else. Not even like nothing else. Like that was it. And it's like, I just don't know. What am I supposed? And so this, my my brother's girlfriend wants to help, and it's like, okay, but what you're really doing is you'll just be cleaning up her garbage, and then you'll be doing all of her laundry, and you'll be keeping all of the stuff that she doesn't want to get rid of immediately. And she'll act like she's, doing what she's supposed to be doing and actually getting rid of stuff, but she won't. And she'll still end up with way too much stuff that she doesn't need, and she'll still want to buy things. And that's the whole reason I wanted to get a professional in, is because that's what they do. They have, they're therapists. That's what they do. They help people learn how to let go of things, not, manipulate their family into helping them clean stuff up with the threat of, oh, well, somebody's going to call the health department. Because that's what she does. She'll say, oh, I'm going to lose my kid. I'm going to lose my this. I'm going to lose my that. I'm going to lose my house. And it's like that kind of manipulation tactic. I fucking grew up with that. Like, it's not okay. It's not okay. And I'm just done. I'm done with it. Somebody's going to call the health department. It's probably going to get condemned. And I told her, I said, the house is probably going to get condemned. Like, I'm not saying that to like be mean or be scary or whatever, but it's like, the house is falling apart. The front of the house doesn't have structure underneath the flooring because somebody ripped it out to like steal copper out of it before my mom got it. And they filled it with crap before fixing that. There's places where my brother has like dug up the floor and that never got replaced. There's a toilet that just like doesn't work because my mom turned it off because she doesn't want to fix it. There's, stuff in the bathtub upstairs. I don't even know if it works. Like, we're talking about like severe, serious levels of like, this house can't be lived in. And everybody wants to save it because they're in that mindset of that same mindset that my mom has, is we got to hold on to this. This is ours. This is a thing that we own. This is us. And it's not like my mom thinks that place is her home, because I know she doesn't. Otherwise she wouldn't treat it like that. She exists there, and my sister barely was existing there. Like, I just see it in her eyes. She's right there with where I was when I was younger. I was around my mom when all this stuff happened, like in the beginning, when she first started like really collecting stuff and like getting extra things that we didn't need. And it happened after some trauma to her. So I understand it. And I definitely understand how it works. It's just so frustrating to see other people fall into the same trap who also aren't being treated and who like want to help her, but they don't really understand that they're not helping, they're enabling. And I don't want to fight. Like, I don't want to fight with my brother, and I definitely don't want to fight with my brother's wife, especially since they're trying to help, and I get it. But all they're really doing is frustrating me, and they're making me like my mom's talking to them behind my back, which makes me distrust, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm trying to do all of this without doing the thing that my mom doesn't want, which is to call, CPS or whatever. But the thing is, like, I feel like that ship's already sailed. Like, somebody is going to do it, or somebody's already done it, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so that's where we are as of today. I'm going to take my sister to see a doctor. We're going to figure out what's going on. I still haven't talked to like anybody else about a lot of this stuff, but I'm starting to crack a little bit because it's one thing to deal with my mom. It's another thing to deal with my sister and my mom. And now I'm dealing with my sister, my mom, my brother. My mom called my other brother to like help clean stuff out. And I'm like, stop. No, I don't want the family involved with this, because you're just going to tell everybody what to do and then fight with them and cause drama. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm not here for the entire family arguing, for like fucking every single day that somebody tries to help her, just arguing and arguing and arguing and her fighting with them. No, that's the whole reason I wanted to hire somebody, because I'm not here for that. I'm not doing that. And I'm not going to have anything to do with it. And I'm not going to support it in any way. She asked somebody else for help. I'm out. Like, I'm done. And I don't think she understands like how serious this situation is. Like, she keeps just, I don't know. I'm so scared. I'm just really, really scared that like something bad is going to happen. And I know that's just anxiety. And it's funny because I had a thought, a conversation or Facebook conversation with somebody just a little while ago about anxiety and how evolutionarily, like, anxiety makes sense, like when things are going to be bad, and how some of us have anxiety disorders, which, just means that we get anxiety when we shouldn't. And I feel like I have kind of the opposite, like, of normal anxiety, where, like, I don't get anxiety about my job. I don't get anxiety about, like, bills. I don't get anxiety about stuff like that. I get anxiety about, like, interacting with other people or, like, leaving my house. And I think that that's just part of my PTSD is, like, getting anxiety for that kind of stuff. But, like, it's, in general, anxiety should be a motivator. It should, push you to do some things that you need to do. And that is actually normal. But, like, it's when you get crippling anxiety or when you have, like, a disorder that, you start to, like, break down. And this is, like, yesterday was the first time I kind of, like, broke a little bit, because I'm handling things that I'm not really suited for. I'm suited for drama. Like, I'm used to that. I'm used to my mom, like, causing drama. What I can't deal with is just, like, getting messages from a bunch of different people who are like, I want to help. What can I do? And I'm like, I never asked for anybody's help for this. And I'm not even not sure what we're doing yet. So how you could possibly help, I don't know, but all right. To the art, I want to mention that while I was doing this piece, I did end up actually using my couple of my stencils, which I hadn't done before in one of the coloring book pieces. I had added a little bit of kind of patterns and things before in, like, post editing in some of these, but I hadn't actually added stencils, like hand stencils. So I did that in a couple of places, and I thought that turned out kind of cool. And I think I would do that again, actually, especially if I didn't want this piece to be quite as busy as the other ones that I did. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but there's, yeah. So I did the same thing that I actually did with the last one, which is everything was done with, like, the microns, and then I went back in with my handy dandy brush full of ink, which is super hard to control. I think I actually went back through it again to make it nice and dark. But I did actually get a set of the rapidographs and the isographs, and I really wanted to use them for stuff like this, but honestly, the texture of the paper doesn't lend itself that well, or the background with the light doesn't lend itself that well to those pens. I can draw with them just fine, but when I'm actually using them on top of the light pad, it skips a little bit. So I'm having a hard time with that. So you'll see earlier in the video, I did actually use one of the isograph pens for a little while, but I stopped using it because it was not a good feeling. The felt tips are quite a bit better for, like, pressing into, and I can angle my arms a little more. That's one thing that people don't talk about with technical pens, is that some of them, because of the way that they're made, they are metal nibs. You have to hold them upright almost, or you don't get the line quality that you want. And you just, like, scrape the shit out of the paper. There's also that. I am sorry for being a little bit ranty a minute ago. I'm actually pretty, like, the last few times I've talked about this stuff, I've been pretty calm. But I'm actually pretty worked up about this situation right now, because I feel like I'm just getting pulled in 100 directions with, work and projects and art and my sister and my family and my mom and now other people in my family. And I feel like, honestly, I'm dealing with a lot of stuff that, like, isn't my problem. And I mean, that is honestly true. It's not my problem. Technically, none of this is my problem. I just feel like an absolute asshole if I don't make it my problem, I guess. And I do want to take care of my sister, and I do want to see her flourish and be able to handle things. And I don't want her to end up in a situation where, like I am, where, she's not in her 30s until she can start actually functioning like an adult. And, like, that was my problem, is that, I messed up. I ended up in situations that were abusive and bad because I grew up in situations that were abusive and bad. And I mean, I didn't know any better. And I don't want that for her. I don't want that for anybody. And I don't want, and even my mom, like, the situation with her, like, I mean, she's done some crazy shit, but that doesn't mean I want her to have a bad life either. Like, I don't want her to live in filth. I don't want my sister to live in filth. I don't want my family to have to deal with this. maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like a selfish asshole because like I don't want to deal with this, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I'm just trying to be honest. I guess. And I mean, I have been honest. I've been honest with everybody about it, so it's not like I'm, kidding myself that about what I'm doing. I am definitely doing it for her, but I'm also doing it for me. Like I know there's like a definite guilt factor there that I'm trying to like appease, but I think I feel like I kind of like between anxiety and guilt, I feel like that's kind of how I function. I don't know if that's just like how I was brought up or if brought up like I was brought up, but you know what I mean. I don't know if that's like maybe it's maybe it's my evolutionary trait is that I kind of became driven by things that I shouldn't be because I'm not driven by like success. I'm definitely not driven by money. I'm not driven by sex or anything like that. I feel like I don't even really know what I'm driven by. I guess that's actually a pretty good question to ask myself. Is that a good question to ask yourself? Like what drives you? Because I think it is probably a little bit of anxiety. I know that like I have a lot of that whole like not wanting to disappoint people thing. Like not even in the anxiety way, but like just like my bosses and stuff. Like my boss is really awesome and like I would hate to disappoint her. Like that's like one of my things. And not that I worry about making mistakes and stuff, but like I think about things like that. Like I don't like to hurt people and I don't like to disappoint people. I think that's probably one thing that is one of my big motivators. The other one is I think a big motivator for me is that I feel like I am not going to be around and like I felt like that for a long time. So I always feel rushed to do things and to get things done that I care about. So like that's why you always see me like making art and like doing stuff because I feel like if I don't do it that it'll just never get done. I don't know why I've always felt like that. Maybe because I was sick a lot when I was younger and there's a lot going on in that, area. And I think a lot of people have that. And I have some other friends that have talked to me about that too. Like they never expected to live as long as they did. So they just never made plans. And like, I definitely fall into that. I had that hardcore when I was in high school and the beginning of college. I just didn't think I was going to live. So I think that's part of my motivation too, is like maybe I feel like I'm playing catch up because I had so much time where I just sat around and kind of waited not to exist anymore. And I know that's like that might sound really sad, but like, I don't know. That was reality for me, I guess. Just feeling that way. And I know a lot of people feel that way. It's not like, I don't know, it's not a very nice thing to think about, but it's, I do think about that still, even when I'm doing stuff now and how every time I think about like how bad things are, I think about how good things are too. So like when I talk about my shitty life, my life isn't shitty. Like I know I've said that before. Like, things are actually pretty good. So I don't want to complain too much. It's just very stressful right now. So the video is almost over and I'm going to put a picture of this at the end of the video so you can see how it turned out. And I will go ahead and link an image as well if you want to get a thing. This is actually also on my Patreon. For $1 a month, people can get my coloring book pictures as high resolution downloads. Like that's what I'm trying to do. So I hope everybody has a great Friday. And I'm sorry this was very like all over the place as far as like rambling and vlogging, but I think it's been a little while coming. So thank you, and maybe I'll show my face again in the future.